Hello and welcome! So I created square waves on this project as well as triangle waves, but now I wish to take things to the next level and explore delay. So in this video, among the usual exploration, which is the nature of the project of course, I'm going to add the PT299 or CD299 delay and reverb circuit and see what visual effects it creates. I've noticed that I've had quite a few newcomers to my channel, especially in the last video, and especially on this project, and I wish to say a very warm welcome to you. I do a lot of things here in my humble attic, so you're really in for a treat. Electronics, retro computing, music creation on the Commodore Amiga with new and vintage synthesizers. And it's all linked and related to one another, if you notice. I don't just do one thing. I can't just do one thing because I do what feels natural. So enjoy all that I share with you. Okay, so let's find a general purpose transistor here. Oh, perfect. 2N3904. Let's show you the edge of this. It's literally that simple. Basically, all that I'm doing is this really full. Well, first of all, from the plus volt rail, I've used up all my whiteboard space. At the moment, what that circuit looks like is plus volt rail. This transistor is currently set off. It needs a little trigger to allow current to flow from collector to emitter, therefore turning the LED on. So any little voltage on that, the base, including the voltage from me. So you can touch it, literally you can create a touch sensor. So what we need to do here is take this base and then connect it to the output. Now if you increase the voltage, as you can see it gets brighter and brighter. It's kind of like it's triggering a door to open. Right, so we have the top one, which is the output, as I said. The top one, the 555 timer circuit. The bottom one, as you can see, it's inverted. Yeah, that's the output of the transistor. So it's inverted the signal. That's good. Okay, so that's going to have an interesting effect on the CRT. I want to try this. I will in a minute, but I'm curious now. I want to see what happens when I stick a triangle wave in this. It'll probably square it up again. The output of the LM358. There we go, we got a nice triangle wave, which I still like because it feels hand-drawn, if you know what I'm saying. Let's disconnect that and connect it to... Oh! Hello? Well, that's kind of a very nice, curvy, sexy square wave. Hi. It's nice looking. It looks hand-drawn. I like that. It's just arty. So you can create different vector animations and patterns and shapes just by switching things over. Now if we change the polarity of X and Y, even that changes everything. So essentially I'm creating a visual synthesizer. A synthesizer for CRTs and oscilloscopes. Though yeah, I'm still curious on what all this would look like on an oscilloscope. So let's take it back to square wave. Let's select this too. Look at that, that's beautiful. So clean. Obviously it's going to be because it's a precision instrument, But you know, one thing I've noticed is that this doesn't play well with that Class D amplifier, of course. It can go straight from the outputs of the oscillators. So what I'm going to have to do, and this is something I'm going to have to note down in my little book, is make there be a separate output for oscilloscopes that's not amplified. Because it's only the deflection yoke on the CRTs, the consumer TVs, that would require that amplification. This, no. It's kind of cool that you can break there with the PWM output. You can break the triangle up a bit. Yeah, interesting. If I do an output, a dual output, one for oscilloscope, one for that, you can run them at the same time. The CRT, that is. So these two oscillators, dual 555 timer 556, the two here are the ones where you can adjust the duty cycle. Now, as much as I love the control of the duty cycle, it actually causes a little bit of issues with regards to the triangle wave. So I rebuilt the original circuit here, which adjusts the duty cycle along with the frequency at the same time. The reason being is because the LM358 triangle wave generator works best with that. As you're adjusting the frequency, and it's adjusting the... Okay, thank you, Mr. Motorcycle Man. I wanted to make an appearance in the video. Anyway, so when you adjust the frequency of this, it adjusts the duty cycle just right. Now you can see a circuit over here, a small circuit over here, and an op-amp circuit over here. These two do two different things. I will discuss them in a future video, maybe the next one. I'm excited about them because I got them working, and it's just, I'm really pleased with the progress, and I'm really honestly delighted at how everything is going right now. Right, okay, another day and more messing around, although I've neatened this up a little bit. So the rig up to convert the square wave into a triangle wave, I used the LM358 op-amp ICs, which are these. Now, just like the 555 timer, it has a version 556, and that is two 555 timers in one, so it's like a dual. Now, the same thing with the 358 op-amp. The LM324 is basically the double of LM358. Now, the thing which I ended the last video with was that I wanted the phase shifting, you know, the circuit to do phase shifting, and a few of you reached out to me. You know, I was really grateful. Only Amiga 85 in the comments suggested using op-amps and an all-pass filter. I had no idea about this, and I looked into it, and it does. I did try it, but I couldn't get it going. Like, it would invert at one point, but it also, I think I need to give it another go, basically. You know, it was just my first attempt, and I just threw a lot of things here together. James Pearson also came to the same conclusion after trying to help. I think the all-pass filter would probably be the best one. I just need to find a way to get it working, tinker enough to get it working. Now, somebody else also suggested in the comments, Mark P5726. He suggested the diode ladder Sine shaper, and recommended kludges from Kevin's Cave. And I went over to his channel, subscribed, and had a look at, because, you know, it seemed quite interesting. Went look for this, and it's like an entire series with this, how to turn a triangle wave into a sine wave. He went through a lot of detail, a lot of theory, and I was blown away by his knowledge, to be honest. Hats off to you. I'm not even close to that level. Now, I did look at the diode ladder Sine shaper. As intriguing as it is, it requires a dual supply, so it would work well with a circuit, let's say, for example, 741. I'm creating a triangle wave with a single supply. Now, I don't know how to actually implement that circuit. Nonetheless, I do recommend, and I will link his channel in the description below. One thing, I did manage to get a sine wave going, so I'll show you that. Let me just turn the... So that square wave, which you can see there in the purple, that is the output of one of the 555 timers. Now that output is going into the LM358. The output of the LM358 is the blue one. So it's the same, this triangle wave, the origin of it is that square wave, basically. So it's creating it, and it's created a really, I've got it really smooth, and I'll tell you how. So if you see the waveform here, you'll notice this little line under each of these triangle dips at the bottom of them. That was bugging me. I couldn't get rid of it no matter how much I tweaked the PWM. So what I did, 10 nanofarad capacitor, one end connected to the output of the square wave, the other end to ground. Insert that, and there we go. So you can see on the square wave, the edge has been smoothened. Yeah, it's got a slightly curvy edge. It's reduced, but there's still a little dip. So on the output of the triangle wave generator, which is the LM358, the output of that, 100 nanofarad capacitor. There you go. As you can see, that's taken away that. Now if you were to zoom out a bit, you got a nice clean square wave, slightly curvy, as in curved edge, and you have a nice clean triangle wave. So that's that. But you know something? This gave me a little bit of an idea. Now I was messing around with, trying to mess around with the diode ladder circuit, and I was literally just messing around with diodes and resistors. I didn't really create the circuit properly because I didn't know how to do it on a single supply. So what I did was I got a 220 nanofarad capacitor between the output of the triangle wave, LM358, and ground. And there we go, a sine wave. The actual value of the capacitor really matters here, because if I were to take this 220 nanofarad and then make it into 100 nanofarad, it would still be triangular, but like just slightly curved, so it won't have as much effect. Okay, so we have two different sine waves, two different oscillators here. Okay, let's connect one to, okay, connecting x-axis, you're just getting a flat circle. Y-axis, definitely getting a circle. So yeah, the sine wave is working. Circle for sure. Increase the sine of that. That's just going into the y-axis. So if we connect both, what happened? Oh, interesting. Very circular. So a sine wave. I have to say that's really interesting. What I've noticed is on the final thing, what I'm gonna have to do is clearly a coarse and a fine control, and that is this here, one of these. These are a 10-turn potentiometer for accuracy. Now this, in series with a normal potentiometer, I can have a coarse control, which just sweeps through the frequency. But then once I find something close by, I can just use this one, which sweeps very slowly through. And I think that would be perfect. So it's going to be a coarse control and a fine control for each one, and that's simply just, I'm going to have to amend that on the circuit diagram. Right, so okay, the whole issue with controlling the phase, I'm going to put that aside at the moment, because I just had an idea and I was thinking like a music creator in this sense. So I thought, instead of phase shift, why don't I see if I can use a delay or reverb circuit. So I'm really curious what that's going to look like on this. Yeah, it might just actually create some interesting effects. So if I have one of these as an effects unit on this, essentially I'm creating a synthesizer. Let's just put it there. I'm creating an oscillator here, or a series of oscillators. Not so much an envelope generator, this circuit doesn't have that. It'll be interesting to see how that would respond. So aside from these oscillators that I'm creating, I'm going to have an option where you can use or mix in waveforms created from VCOs on a modular synth. So yeah, it's just gonna be, you can use external stuff as well as the internal, you know. So rather than an electronic engineer, which I'm not, I'm thinking more like a music creator when I'm creating this. Even though I'm creating it for visual effects for music, if you know what I'm saying, but I'm thinking along those lines. Okay, so here I have a pair of PT2399 circuits. PT2399? It's actually CD2399, which are replacements. The reason why I ordered modules is because I've built this before. That's weird. So we can adjust the intensity of it here. And this is the effect adjustment. It's working! Right, so those of you who are new here, say hello to the Sid Boom Box. The Sid Box, a little device created by somebody I once knew. He created this little portable player which creates, which plays Sid, Commodore 64 Sid files, Amiga mod files, and more, you know, many formats. So I worked on that with him for a while, and he sent me a couple for testing purposes. So what I did with one of them is I created an actual boombox out of it. So the Sid box is just this part here, but then I expanded it and I created an entire system. Now today we're gonna do a finale on the Sid boombox. Whoops! What? I'm doing a finale. You're not gonna let me turn it on. Why? What? Let me put the... It's mine! I've made it! It's not yours now. And I literally built this from scratch. In fact, it's all built using prototype boards. It's the matrix boards. Yeah, this stuff. I really should have got that finalized, as in like got a proper PCB printed, you know, done fully. So despite one of the VU meters, unfortunately, for some reason it's not working, even though it's just been sat there. I think the internal setting is just shifted a bit. It's all analog circuitry after all. Right now it's playing a Commodore 64 SID file. Now, okay, so on this small circuit module, well on this circuit anyway, you have two controls. You have one which controls the delay, the amount of delay there is, and then you have another one which controls the length of it, so it's like the amount of reverb you get, basically. So you can make the room bigger or smaller if you want to put it that way. And this one is the amount of delay. As far as I remember. I haven't messed with this circuit for a long time. But this beep, which you hear, so it's just a beep, right? Turn the delay up just a touch. Now it sounds like a couple of beeps in a room. So you get the idea. This is what this circuit does. So I'm curious to connect this to this circuit here and see what it does with the frequencies and see what effects I get, visual effects I get. Okay, so the bottom one here, that is from just one of the oscillators. And that very same oscillator is going into, I'm gonna call it the reverb board. It's just easier. So it's going through that, and then that is the output of it. The purple one is the output of it. So the first thing you can see that is inverted, the waveform. Now, when you start turning it up, you can see that it's creating harmonic and changing the waveform. So you can really mess with the effects. You know something? I'm gonna make it trigger on the bottom one because it's just faffing around with the top one. So make it trigger to channel 3 so that it stands still. Harmonics. Now, if I were to disconnect it, it fades out. It's because it's a reverb board. So you can control the time it fades out, you can control the thing. I'm just eager to see what this looks like. Now if we... Oh! Wow, it's getting some cool effects, to be honest, the reverb. Looks like it's in border or something. That's just going through one. Now let's pull both the way, let's take it all the way back to the beginning so there's no effect going through. Do you know when this is going to be even more interesting? I think at lower frequencies, when you get dits and dots happening. So at lower frequencies, well, that's actually pretty cool. You can see when you take it higher a bit, you can start seeing multiple squares. So that's like a visual representation of reverb, basically. What reverb actually looks like. Okay, this is cool. You see what I mean? I'm thinking more like that actually looks like the CRT tube, the shape of it, the way it looks like inside. If I can just take another signal in here. Okay, so let's get this interesting shape now, and which is made with 2 square waves at a certain frequency. Now make one of the square waves. And just varying it. That's just with one oscillator. Can you imagine I'm gonna have 2 of these in? Okay, that's interesting, without any effects, though it's because it's inverted. Let's add effects to it. This is at high frequency. Do you know what the interesting thing is? It gives an underwater effect. So this reverb delay board has actually made things much more interesting. It's taken it into a different dimension. I mean, I love the way in the high frequency it almost becomes like underwater. You know, it's this, the movement is so smooth, the camera is not capturing it. Somebody mentioned, oh, it seems more like dots than a straight line, like a vector line. That's because also, don't forget that the line is constructed of the picture itself, which is at the moment static. You know what I mean? So it's because that's what's connected to it. So it's not connected to a white source, but we'll come to that. You know, I'll sort that out in future and I've got a plan for this. But yeah, so now I've done a square wave, I've done a triangle wave, I've done a sine wave, and now it actually looks like fire, like flames. Gotta give it a bit of an orange, yellow-orange color for that. Anyway, so reverb delay, and that is just reverb delay on one oscillator. I've got another one here. So this will be interesting even with both, you know, imagine what you can do with it. So this is getting more and more involved. I need to start designing this now properly, because this is at the prototype stage. And another thing as well, don't forget this is on breadboard as well. It's got its limitations and things are not going to be so accurate, like that variable resistor is like coming out of its socket at the moment. And you'll have a lot of other things wrong with it. There's extra capacitance, the circuit's not going to be running at its best. Now imagine it all built up properly with proper controls and everything. So yeah, that's what my aim is. I'm going to aim to do that. A very special thank you to my top tier patrons: Rich Garbett, Axel Dominator, Jason Marison, Corey Ostman, Brian Mitchell, Mark Bosek, and Monochrome Minako. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate it.